But I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about, just for a minute, some of the things that are old at Sewanee, because we're talking about the Sewanee experience today. And when I picked this book up in my car, and I'll tell you how I got it from one of my colleagues, very fine man, and also classmate of mine, Alex Bruce, who is the Associate Dean for Campus Life, and he does get there early. He has a good balance of strengths on Eric's team of things. But he wrote this, and I just thought that this resonated with my Sewanee soul. By the way, I'm Julie Murphy, and I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Leadership Development and not the Director of Career Services. But anyway, here's what Alex said. Students, he wrote this because he's hoping the students will read this. Students, in short, 1, to thine own self be true. 2, lift your head up and take note of the big picture. 3, to know where you're going, know where you've been. And 4, think creatively, read well, write well, think well. Alex and Bruce. And I just thought that really summed up well some of the things that continue at Sewanee. But this is a place where those are the things that we're encouraging our students to do even to this day. So I think that's one of the nice things that's continuing there. As I said, I've known many of you all when I was the Director of Career Services in the late 90s, and it's so good to see you, and I'm just like dying more to hear from y'all. I talk so much myself. But now I'm back again, and I'm new again, and everything's new again. Eric hired me at a time of transition within the Student Affairs Division. And I think the way I understand it is he gave a lot of the responsibilities of Student Activities Director, which you all know he held that position for many years, and then its various transformations as well, to a lot of the other people on campus, leaving some things with one position, and that's mine. And what those things tended to be were all within student leadership development. So I work with the student organization leaders. I'm a liaison between all kinds of departments, academic and non-academic, and where they do leadership development, because you all know that even though we've never had an assistant dean for student leadership development, we've clearly had a lot of leadership development going on in Sewanee for 150 years. So that's not new either, but just this idea of having an individual who has their eye on that and who's really thinking about what do we do really well at Sewanee within student leadership development, how can we build on that some more? And I talked with a few of y'all just a few minutes ago about one of the books that is sort of popular within the Student Affairs Division, and that's the Strength Finders 2.0. I don't know if any of y'all have done Strength Finders, if you know what your strengths are. But the basic premise is also an old premise, new book, old premise, and that is that you want to build on strengths. Invest in strengths, invest in the things that are going really well, invest in those things that you are naturally good at, and those things are going to get better, and that's going to be the way you can give and serve your community and the world. And so that's sort of the philosophy that I've tried to invest in my approach to leadership development, and looking at, okay, what is going well in Sewanee, what are some of the things that we need to replicate and do. And Baxter had alluded to a few of them in his remarks. I appreciate that. And I think that that's a lot of what you were talking about too, Deb, with seeing what's going well within biology and ecology and human biology, and trying to combine those things. But one of the models that I've seen in leadership development at Sewanee, and those of you who are on the residence hall staff and you were here will know this to be true, that is a real strength of the university. It has been for many years. The residence hall staff training is just a hallmark of leadership development here. You also see it in one of the new programs that Dexter mentioned, which is the Lilly Discernment Institute. It's not that new. That's been around for 15 years or something like that. But you know, some of us think, well, how long is that? But the Lilly Discernment Institute takes students, so you take students from Sewanee and other places, brings them together for a week, and they do some training, some community building, some training, then sends them out to go and do the things that they discovered that they want to do, and then brings them back for doing some reflection. And that's similar, you don't necessarily see the connection between dorm staff, but it's similar because if you think about it, any of the, if you were on the hall staff, you got together in the late spring and then again in the early summer, and you did some training and some community building, and then you went into your hall environment and you did that thing. And then every now and then you get that together with that res hall staff and you do some reflection. And now we do it where they get together every week, the proctors all meet every Sunday, and do some additional training, some reflection, how's it going. And that kind of model in leadership development is something that I see in lots of pockets all around campus, and it's something that I think we need to replicate wherever we can. So I've got some new programs that do that. I'm working with all of the student organization leaders next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, giving them some guidelines, some manuals for student leadership development, for student leadership, the operation of a student organization. How do you operate your student organization at Sewanee? Some manuals, some guides for that. And then telling them about some resources that they will have workshop opportunities, other additional training opportunities. And then trying to encourage them to find places to do that reflection piece, which is really important. And you talked a little bit about that too, having your posse and being able to get together with your posse and reflect, how's it going, what am I learning? And so we have some of those places that already happen naturally through maybe an academic advisor, a faculty member you're close with, friend group, sports teams, different places where people do that reflection at Sewanee. And so we're building on what's already there. But sometimes students haven't found their way naturally to that reflection group. And so we're creating some new leadership circles where the whole intent is get together regularly and reflect. What are you learning as a leader? What are you trying? How's it going? What are you experiencing? How do you want to challenge yourself some more? And so that's a model I'm hoping to just continue doing. One of the small leadership circles that I've done last year, and we had a great experience with it, was a small group in vocational discernment. And so we met for about 10 weeks, and it was a different group in the fall and a different group in the spring. And that was very rewarding for the students and for Elizabeth Wilson and I who were a part of that. So that was just a model for how we can get that going. And Eric's going to lead one this year, and we've got several other staff. That would be another thing I would just note that's old and new at Sewanee is it seems like as I look around, having now returned to Sewanee, I see a lot of senior staff on our student affairs and faculty. We have a lot of wonderful new people too. But just as you look around, it seems like there are a lot of people who've been doing what they love to do, investing in their passions, and who've been doing that for a number of years. And it makes you feel really good to be a part of a team that has some experience, some love for this that goes back a few years. You know, it's not their first venture in student affairs. You look at the team of folks that we have in student affairs and student life, and it's a really rich, deep group of people. So it's a privilege and a joy to be with them. I've been, just so y'all know a little bit about my background, and then I'm going to really pass it on to Amy, is I was the director of career services here at Sewanee in the late 90s, and then my husband and I moved to Memphis, and he would pursue medical school, and I ended up working at the University of Memphis for a very brief time, and then at Rose College, which I have to say kind of quietly in this space. But one of the things about going to visit the enemy is you take back some of their good ideas too, so that was fun and a great experience. And then we moved to Hawaii so that Brian could do his medical residency there, and I was the Associate Dean of Students at Chaminade University there, and got to look in some other new ideas on living with intense, diverse community there, and that was great and very rich to be able to bring those experiences back to this place that I love so much. So again, it's great to be with you all.